I used to think secrets always left traces, a misplaced receipt, an unfamiliar scent, a smile that didn't belong to you. But Rachel wasn't like that. She hid her deceit with elegance, almost artistry. For years, I mistook her calm for affection. We'd been married 8 years. I was 36, working as an IT consultant, and she ran a small event planning business from home. We weren't the kind of couple that argued loudly or broke things. Our silence was tidy, polite, a performance we both knew by heart, long after the meaning had drained away. It started subtly. She began locking her phone, saying she needed privacy. Her work nights stretched longer. She'd come home smelling faintly of places I didn't recognize, hotel lobbies, perfume that wasn't hers. But she always smiled, kissed me lightly, and said, "You worry too much, Ethan." I believed her. It was easier than facing what I already feared. Then one weekend, she said she had to leave town for a wedding she was coordinating. 3 days, nothing unusual. I let her go, convincing myself that love meant trust, that checking her messages would make me the villain. But doubt lingered like a shadow. When she returned, her phone barely stopped buzzing. She brushed it off as work, and I let it go. Maybe I didn't want to see the truth. A few weeks later, I decided to surprise her, dropped by her office with her favorite lunch. The receptionist looked puzzled. "Rachel hasn't been in today." I just nodded, walked back to my car, and sat there, the sandwich growing cold beside me. That was the first time I felt something break, the fragile line between trust and denial. I didn't confront her right away. I waited. Watched. Every glance, every movement turned into a clue. Her laughter felt rehearsed. Her makeup, more deliberate. The way she tilted her phone away when she texted. It all became data points in a pattern I couldn't unsee. Then came the night that ended the illusion. She said she had a corporate dinner. I knew better. I followed her, not in anger, but in search of the truth. She drove to a quiet restaurant on the edge of town, parked in the shadows. When she stepped out, she looked beautiful, nervous, almost glowing. A few minutes later, a man arrived. He was older, well-dressed, with a wedding ring catching the streetlight. They embraced, not a polite hug, but one filled with history, with promises they shouldn't have made. I didn't interrupt. I just went home, sat in the dark, and let the truth settle like ash. When she returned that night, humming softly, she smelled faintly of whiskey and someone else's cologne. She slid into bed, and I lay beside her, memorizing her breathing, realizing that the woman next to me wasn't mine anymore. The next morning, I went through the motions, made her coffee, packed her lunch, kissed her goodbye, the calm before everything collapsed. That evening, while I worked late, my phone rang from an unknown number. A woman's voice, shaky but composed, asked, "Is this Ethan?" "Yes," I said. "My name's Laura," she replied. "I think your wife is having an affair with my husband." I said nothing. My silence must have told her enough, because she added quietly, "His name is Mark. They're together right now. I'm outside the hotel." The world seemed to stop. My fingers went numb. I didn't ask how she found me or why she'd called. I just said, "I'm coming." When I arrived, Laura was waiting in her car. She looked like she hadn't slept in days, mascara streaked, jaw tight, heartbreak hardened into something like courage. We didn't talk much as we crossed the hotel lobby, walking side by side, two strangers tied together by the same kind of betrayal. Room 314. Laura knocked once, twice, then slid in the master key the manager had given her. The door swung open, and there they were, Rachel and Mark, caught mid-lie, half-lit by the lamp, frozen in the truth they'd tried to hide. Rachel's face went pale. Mark stammered, reaching for excuses that collapsed the moment they left his mouth. Laura didn't scream. She just stared at her husband, tears falling freely, and said quietly, "You broke our family." Then she turned to me, eyes raw but steady. "You deserve to know." Rachel tried to say something. Maybe my name, maybe a sorry, but I was already walking out. The hallway tilted around me, thick with the scent of cheap perfume and betrayal. Laura followed. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Just two people standing in the aftermath, realizing home wasn't where they'd left it anymore. I drove back alone, hands slick on the steering wheel. When Rachel came home later, I was on the porch. She stood there, searching for a version of guilt that might make sense to me. I didn't let her start. How long? I asked. She hesitated. 6 months. I nodded. That number hit harder than anything else. 6 months of pretending. 6 months of breakfasts, of smiles, of shared jokes, all wrapped around a lie. Was it worth it? I said. She didn't answer. That night, I packed one bag. I didn't shout, didn't throw things. I just left the house key beside her wedding ring, symbols that no longer held meaning. She called after me, but her voice sounded distant, like static on a broken radio. A week later, Laura messaged me. He moved out, she wrote. I thought it would feel like justice, but it just feels hollow. I replied, closure isn't always clean. Sometimes it just stops hurting one day. We never spoke again. Months passed. The silence in my apartment is still heavy, but at least it's honest. I've learned that betrayal doesn't always come crashing down. It fades slowly, like an echo you can still hear even after the sound is gone. Rachel reached out a few times, talking about forgiveness, about starting over. I never responded, not out of hatred, but because she'd already taught me the most painful truth of all. Love without honesty is just an act. People say secrets destroy relationships, but it's not the secret itself, it's the moment you realize the life you were living was never real. That's the wound that lingers. Now, when I see couples laughing in cafes or holding hands at red lights, I don't feel envy. I just hope what they have is real, because nothing feels emptier than sharing a bed with someone who's already gone in every way that counts.